Hello guys, it's Dale here. In this video I'm going to show you the difference between volume profile and market profile, also known as TPO. So let's get to it. Let's start with volume profile. A volume profile shows true volumes that got traded at each price level. So for example, in this place there were heavy volumes traded at this price level, right? Because the volume profile is thick in here. Now, for volume profile, you need volume data. Sometimes this can be a problem, usually with MT4 brokers, MetaTrader 4 brokers, as those usually don't give you volume data or just a very limited amount of volume data. And also another problem associated with getting volume profile data is the cost of it. Because sometimes you just can't avoid paying for this volume data. In some cases, there are ways to get volume data for free, as I show in my volume profile course, which you can get on my website. But sometimes there are cases where you need to pay for the data. For example, for day trading stocks, right? So that's the volume profile. Shows true volumes, but sometimes there's problem getting the volume data. Now, market profile, also known as the TPO, which stands for time price opportunity, shows only estimated volumes. You don't need volume data. It looks like this. And in the next two slides, I'm going to show you how exactly those volumes are estimated. So the market profile works only with simple candles, which is only high and low, and as I mentioned, it doesn't need volume data. So let me now show you how exactly market profile estimates where the heavy volumes were traded. So in this example, let's have a look at this. Those are two candles. I just distinguished them by those colors, red and blue one. It doesn't really matter how the candle looks like, if it looks like this, if the wicks are like that, or for example like this. The TPO only works with high and low, alright? So it creates sort of blocks like that, and it puts those blocks together. So in here it takes that red block, this one, and then it takes this blue block, this second candle, and with this second candle it takes this part of it, the lower part of it, and it gets in here, and this higher part of it goes in here. And the final shape of the TPO profile from those two candles looks like this. This is the final shape. So the TPO tells you that at this price level, the volumes were the heaviest. The reason is that the price stayed at this place the longest time. It stayed at this place in this candle, and also it stayed at this price level in this candle, alright? So the longer the price stays at some price level, the heavier volumes get traded there. That's the logic how the TPO profile is calculated. Let me show you one more example. This one is more complex as it includes three candles. So the first one, the red one, is in here, right? Now the second one, the blue one, gets printed in here, and also the higher part of it goes in here. Now the last candle, this one, the higher part goes in here, then the middle part goes in here, and the last part goes in here, right? And the final outline the final shape of the TPO profile will be this. So, in this case, the heaviest volumes are estimated to be traded at this price level. This is the place where the price was for the longest, based on those 3 candles. Alright, so that's the calculation of the market profile. In real trading, it looks like this. This is a screenshot from my MetaTrader 4 platform. And the cool thing is that you can use the TPO for any chart which you can think of. So for example, in here, this is NinjaTrader platform, and this is some random stock. I think it's Caterpillar, and this is TPO profile on that stock. I didn't need volume data to print that profile. This is pretty cool, right? Because you can use it for any trading instrument you can think of. And you just need a simple chart. Now, this is a little comparison of volume profile and market profile. A lot of people say that market profile is not really good because it doesn't work with real volumes, that you need to use a volume profile to get the real volumes, and that the market profile is not good enough. What I tell those people is that the market profile is surprisingly very good at those estimations where the volumes were traded. And the simplest thing you can do is just print 2 pictures of the same area in the chart, one with volume profile, one with market profile, and compare those profiles. So in here, the left picture shows volume profile, right picture shows market profile. Now let's look at the differences. You can see that volume profile is way more detailed, but the most important things, which are the heavy volume areas, stay. So this is the most important place, and it also shows on the market profile. Then this and this are also pretty important places in that profile. And you can see that you can also spot those with market profile. It's not as detailed, but you're able to identify the places where heaviest volumes were accumulated, right? That's the most important thing. And what is funny about that is that the market profile didn't use volume data. Those are just estimations where the volumes are. But you can see that those estimations are very precise. Those are very good estimations. Now, in some cases, those estimations are more precise than in other cases. So let me show you 2 examples. So the first example is when there's a trend development like this, right? Now, in this case, the TPO profile is not as good, especially in areas like this, because the candles don't overlap in here and there's just not enough information. You can see that the TPO profile is very rough in this area, whereas the volume profile is pretty detailed. There's no problem for volume profile in such areas because true volumes are printed there, right? So in such cases, volume profile is way better than market profile. All right, so that's the trend development. When there is an aggressive trend like in here, then market profile unfortunately stays behind. When there is a rotation, there's not really too much difference between volume profile and market profile. In a rotation, candles overlap, and the market profile is pretty detailed, as you can see in here, and you are able to spot the place where the heaviest volumes were traded. So when there is a rotation, volume profile and market profile will show you very similar results. So here is a little summary. Volume profile is better in all situations because it shows true volumes. That's good, right? On the other hand, volume profile needs volume data, which sometimes can be hard to get. Now, market profile, or TPO, is pretty okay to use in a rotation, but not so good when there is a trend. But the great thing about market profile is that it doesn't need volume data. That's a big plus. You can use it on any chart you can think of. Alright, so the bottom line is that if you have volume data, then use volume profile, as it will give you more precise picture in all market conditions. But if you don't have volume data, then use market profile, which is also very good, but it can never be as good as volume profile. But still, market profile is like 1,000 times better than any other standard indicator which you can find in your trading platform. Right? As you saw in those examples, it gets very close to the volume profile, even though it doesn't use volume data. Now, what I wanted to show you is my volume profile, which I developed. This is how it looks like. And this profile is for NinjaTrader 8 platform, but also there's a profile which I developed for MetaTrader 4 platform. And the feature which I wanted to show you is that with this volume profile indicator, you can actually switch between a volume profile calculation, and if I click this button in here, the mode button, it will switch to market profile calculation. You can do it as easily as that with just one click. So if you are looking at trading instrument where you don't have volume data, you can just use this TPO calculation. And if you have an instrument where you have volume data, you just switch like that and you have the volume profile. Now, if you would like to get this volume profile, then go to my website, trader-dale.com, and go into here, trading course and tools. And if you scroll down a bit, you can purchase this volume profile indicator in here as a separate product. It's called volume profile pack, which is pack of my volume profile indicators for NinjaTrader 8, or you can get my volume profile for MetaTrader 4 right there. But what I recommend is getting this elite pack, as this elite pack includes not only training how to trade with volume profile, but it also includes my personal trading levels. You'll get those every day, but it also includes the volume profile pack, which is pack of all the indicators, the volume profile indicators which I developed, indicators for NinjaTrader 8 as well as MetaTrader 4, and as a bonus you will get a VWAP indicator and also the books which I wrote, volume profile book and order flow book. So that's the recommended pack. The reason I recommend it is because not only you will get the indicators, but also the education and also my personal trading levels. Alright, so anyways, that's for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. I hope you found it interesting and helpful, and I will be looking forward to seeing you in some next video, and until then, happy trading.